Summer camp. Isn't that where every girl wants to learn that she's Prego? There's nothing like peeing on a stick in the infirmary next to homesick kids. You can make a God's eye in the craft cabin and dry heave all in the same day. Learn to tie a sailor's knot and vomit off the side of a sailboat. Really, there's nothing more that a college student wants to happen on her summer vacation. It's every teenager's dream of how to have her life completely turned upside down. A broken heart and an expanding belly is how you want your summer to end. You want to return to your senior year sporting maternity jeans. It's hot. I was working at camp that I had attended as a child. I had learned to sail, ride a horse, drink bug juice, and perfect the act of doing devious pranks. When I was asked to return to the camp as a counselor, I couldn't wait. The previous month, I had said goodbye to my on-again, off-again boyfriend at college. Maybe not so much boyfriend as hookup friend. But anyways, we had parted our ways, and he had left to travel overseas to play soccer in Europe for the summer. It was my chance to have a break, to clear my head and get a kick and tan. I spent the summer teaching swimming lessons, eating s'mores, singing songs with curious hand motions, and perfecting the art of skinny dipping. It turns out when you return to camp as a college student, camp looks a little different. You no longer care what cabin you're in, or what activities you get to go to first thing in the morning. It is no longer a concern whether you get a letter in the mail or how much money you have in the canteen. But it did matter, however, how hot the new male counselor was. He studied English literature and wanted to work in the Peace Corps, and for this hippie-loving girl, he was my dream. While I was spending my summer falling smitten with those around me, apparently the soccer player was still thinking about me. He came to visit 2 months into the summer. One thing led to another, and I ended up with morning sickness. It's a fairy tale, right? I don't quite remember reading this love story in any book. The love stories that I had grown up reading always involved some sort of fictional dwarfs and a white horse. Since neither of those seemed to be in my future, I was left with a lock me in the tower and throw away the key, the prince will never come kind of ending. When camp was over, it was time for me to leave and return home, and to tell my parents that not only had I gotten poison ivy that summer, I was coming home with a baby. Teenage pregnancy is probably on the top 5 things that you want to avoid in your house as a parent. I knew that walking into that house that afternoon would disrupt who we were as a family forever. To say I was scared was an understatement. If I had lived my entire life trying to be good enough, trying to please those around me, that I was pretty enough, smart enough, good enough just to be enough. I'd gone to private school, but I believe that God was already done with me. God had given me too many chances to be enough. And I had made choices as a high school student that would solidify that I was looking in at the mirror at a hopeless girl. I had failed as a daughter, as a child, as a human. I would lie in the bunk at camp at night, praying God that I just wouldn't wake up, trying to come up with scenarios where I could run away and join some sort of hippie village where I would be safe. And in the darkest moments, I begged God to take my child. To know that a life was growing inside of me didn't fill me enough to know that I was the loneliest, broken child. My soul was vacant, and I just saw no way out. So as I packed up the cabin at the end of the summer and cleaned the bug spray off the bunks, I felt as if I would never feel anything but this pit of darkness over me. I think now, as a mom, you don't know what you're really capable of until you're faced with certain situations. I'm sure as she walked into the house that afternoon, my mother never thought she would be hearing the words from my mouth. She and I had your typical mother-daughter relationship then. She would give me advice, and I would do the exact opposite. She would ask me to help around the house, and I would complain and ask to live with another family. She would wait up nights for me to come in, and I would think curfew was more of a suggestion. She would spend hours making food, cleaning, doing laundry, driving all of us to our Make Me a Better Person activities without even a thank you. I remember distinctly her always being the last one to take food at the table. And with 5 children, 3 who played high school sports, she was lucky to get any food at all. Yet she never complained. She just gave. I used to get so mad at her, never thinking of herself, never sticking up for herself, although none of us did that for her either. That afternoon, I sat at the dining room table, the same table that my mom selflessly gave her time, portions, and advice, and I told my mom I was pregnant. I was expecting tears. I was expecting yelling. I was expecting brokenness. I wasn't expecting love. Yet as I faced my mom with more disappointment, she reacted in a way that I never played out. I knew that her dreams of me finishing college that year and getting married were just destroyed, and I had been the cause of it. I fell to the floor and I sobbed, repeating through the snot running down my face, I was just so sorry. I was sorry I'd failed her again. I was sorry I wasn't good enough. I was sorry I wasn't going to be a college graduate. I was sorry I had brought so much shame to our family again. And then she loved. She fell on the floor next to me and she loved. Wrapping her arms around me, strong, safe, silent. She held me. She didn't scream. She didn't remind me how expensive college was. She didn't tell me I had brought shame to her. She didn't walk away. She stayed. And she gently reminded me that I was loved, that we would figure this out, that once again, she would take care of me. And she just took me where I was at, sobbing, lonely, broken, and empty. And she loved me. And this is how she loves. She leads with grace.